Thanks for joining us for our January 2021 mini-series. This month we're going to be covering off New Year's resolutions. The majority of us set New Year's resolutions around finance or health, and we want to help you with the financial part of things. So over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be covering off content to help you take the next steps to reaching and conquering your New Year's resolutions. But we wanted to give you tools beyond this YouTube mini-series. So we've created a free course for you to download and become part of to get more information and step-by-step action plans to conquer your New Year's resolutions. The link's below. Again, the course is absolutely free. There's 5 lessons that we go through that will give you tips, tricks, tools, and kind of set the stage to reach your New Year's resolutions, to follow through with them, and not have them fizzle out by the end of January, early February, like they usually do. 80% of New Year's resolutions fail. And most of them fail because they're not written down and there's no action plan. So our course, again, link below, will help you walk through those steps to make sure that 2021 is a huge success and that you reach your New Year's resolutions around your financial goals. This week, we're going to be talking about creating a realistic budget and saving more money within your budget. Canadians currently carry over 80 billion with a B in debt on credit cards. $80 billion in credit card debt. You may fall into that category. We need to fix that. And step 1 is creating a budget and having a plan to pay down and pay off that debt. One of the reasons that there's so much credit card debt in Canada is that less than 50% of adults in Canada live on a budget or have a budget that they follow. That's a fundamental issue. If there's $80 billion in credit card debt in Canada, we need to have more budgets, better spending, and better saving tactics to better pay off that credit card debt and have goals and action plans and know how to save more money and pay off that debt. So this week and the first week of this mini-series on New Year's resolutions, we want to focus on a budget, a realistic budget. And what I mean by realistic is something that works for you, okay? If you have $20,000 in credit card debt, it's not very realistic to maybe have it paid off in a year. So part of your budget needs to carve out money to pay off that credit card debt with a realistic goal within a realistic budget. So everyone's going to have a different definition of realistic when they're putting their budget together. So focus on what's realistic for you. Make sure you map out what you want out of your goals, objectives, and New Year's resolutions, and make sure that everything comes together within your budget. So your budget should focus on a couple key things. One is paying down debt. So if you have any debt, focus needs to be on paying down and eliminating your debt. The other part of the budget needs to be saving more. So once you've paid off your debt, high interest debt especially, you want to transition to kind of a savings mode or an attack mode where you're saving for short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals, whether it's a trip, maybe upgrading the house, or retirement, or a combination of all 3 ideally. So eliminate the high interest debt and then focus on savings. A lot of us, when we build a budget, we focus on spending less. But as we know, spending less is maybe tough to do. The transition needs to be on saving more. If you can focus on saving more money, you will naturally spend less money, especially if you're on a set income. So if your set income is, let's say, $5,000 a month, if your goal is to save more, you will naturally in turn spend less. If you set a goal just to spend less money, but don't have kind of a goal and a mindset for where that extra money is going to be going, that you're now not spending, you'll fall back into the spending mode. Whereas if you have a goal to save money and that goal is for, again, a trip or retirement, whatever it is, you know why you're saving that money. So when you build your budget, focus on savings, not spending less. That will really help you reach your goals. It'll help you stay to your budget, and it'll probably help you free up even more money as you move forward within your budget. As we know, 2020 was a very unexpected year. A lot of us lost jobs, had financial issues, and had to use our emergency fund. Now, if you're someone or know someone that's had to use their emergency fund, you also probably know that their emergency fund may not have been big enough. We've always recommended in the past to have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved up in accessible, high interest savings account that is accessible for you if something happened like 2020. So what I encourage you to do is, if you used your emergency fund, start building a new one up. We need to get that built up as soon as possible because we never know when the next catastrophe will happen. If you didn't need to use your emergency savings plan in 2020, I want you to still work on building yours bigger. So maybe you have 3 to 6 months in savings in emergency. I want you to build that up to a 9 to 12 month of expenses. So if your expenses are $5,000 a month, I want you to have about a $50,000 emergency fund. That's going to help buffer any unexpected catastrophe that may come across your plate. If it never happens down the road, we can shuffle that emergency fund into your retirement savings or other long-term goal. But in the short term, while you're earning income, we want to make sure that that's protected and that you don't run into high expenses when you have no income. When you're creating your budget, I want you to really focus in on your expenses, how many expenses you have, how high they are, and start looking at what expenses you can trim down. If your New Year's resolution is to save more money, you need to figure out how to eliminate or lower some of your expenses. As I mentioned previous, the focus needs to be savings. Okay, create a savings goal, create the end goal, what you're saving towards, how much you need to save on maybe a weekly or a monthly basis to reach that goal. But where are you going to get the money from? It's probably going to come out of a current expense. What expenses in your budget can you either eliminate or reduce? It might be your cell phone bill. It might be, your internet, and maybe you have a home phone. It might be eating out. It might be many things. Okay, we all have different items in our budget. Find where you're spending too much money. We have provided a budget template that's absolutely free. You can download it below. And when you put your income into our budget tool, it will spit out exactly what we recommend you should be spending in each different category. Okay, so again, if you make $5,000 a month, put that into our template and it will tell you what you should be spending in every category of your budget. Fill the budget in based on what you're spending in each category, and you're going to be able to see where you may be spending a bit too much, or maybe you're spending a bit less than you potentially could be as well. So what that's going to do is going to highlight where you're spending too much, work on reducing that expense to free up money, again, for savings and other long-term goals that you have with your finance. Now, it's easy for me to say on this side of the camera, lower your expenses, save more money. I know it's not always that easy. We deal with clients all the time. We work with them through their budget and goals and savings and all that. It's not easy to come up with $100, $200, $300, $400 a month in savings when you're maybe going into debt every month. We totally understand that. So there's some other tools, and I'm going to cover this off in the 4th week of this mini series more in depth, but maybe we need to look at supplemental income. What are some other incomes that we can bring in to help offset that budget? Maybe it's a second job, a part-time job. Maybe it's delivery. Maybe it's skip the dishes delivery. Okay, there's so many different ways that we can make an extra $100, $200, $300, $500 a month to maybe balance our budget or create some room to save money going forward. And again, having that extra savings, it might take a commitment of picking up a second job part-time, or maybe you have a skill or knowledge that you can actually monetize. And again, we're going to cover off that in the 4th week of this mini series on New Year's resolutions. Many people I've talked to have asked me, how can I monetize the knowledge I have, the experience I have, the skills I have? They don't know how to do it. So I want to go through in the 4th week of this mini series how we've done that, how some of our clients have done that, and how you can do that in a few easy, simple steps. So if you're struggling with your budget and your expenses are higher than your income and you've tried to wind it down and you just can't, you need to do one of two things. You need to either pick up a part-time job to offset those extra expenses, or we need to find a way to monetize your skill set and your knowledge. At the end of the day, when you create a realistic budget, it needs to balance. If it's not balancing out at the end of the day and you're not saving money for the future, something needs to change. Either you need to spend less, or you need to find some extra income, or maybe a combination of the two. So whatever your situation is, set some goals, sit down, talk to an accountability partner, your spouse, your partner, whoever it is that you trust, that you can really dive into on this, and create a strategy to, again, either lower those expenses somehow or find extra income, again, either through a second job or start monetizing skills and knowledge that you have moving forward. As a reminder, to get you started, our free budget template link is below. Click on that. It's absolutely free to download, and it will give you the recommended spending based on your income. So this is for average Canadians, like right across Canada. Put in your $5,000 income, it'll spit out what you have. 10,000, 1,000, doesn't matter what your income is, it will spit out what you should be spending on each category. Now, it's gonna give a big number for mortgage, obviously. So if you make $5,000, it might give you like a $1,500 or $2,000 mortgage payment. If you're mortgage free, I want you to allocate that money to savings, to retirement planning. Okay, so start allocating some of that stuff if you're mortgage free to long-term retirement planning, savings, whatever it is. So, reallocate as you need, but it's a great template and tool to use to get you on track with a realistic budget. And as a reminder, we've created a New Year's resolution course. It's absolutely free. There's 5 lessons in there, and we go through step by step how to reach and set your financial resolution. So many of us will drop off after 3rd, 4th, 5th week of a New Year's resolution. By March, all the New Year's resolutions that we've set for ourselves are out the door. We've created a course to help that not happen. It's absolutely free. Click below and it will walk you through from now all the way to December next year on the steps that you need to take to make sure that you conquer your New Year's resolutions, have a great 2021, and set yourself up for many years to come. Thanks for joining us in week 1 of the New Year's Resolutions mini course. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button. It really does help get our content out to more people. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so and click the notification bell. In 2021, we're going to be launching a new video every Tuesday on a mini series and every Friday on a hot topic of the week. Thanks again for joining us and have a great day.